So do you see differences in the approach of design thinking in industries like the way you mentioned, fintech, for example, which is very much non-core, to core industries, at least core engineering industries? Okay, but you can leave finance and so on aside for the moment, but at least core engineering industries such as ours. So do you see any difference between the approach towards design thinking in both of these domains?
Pretty much. I mean, there is a slight nuances, I would say, rather than difference, because the principles remain the same. But what happens, I'll quickly take an example, right? When you're buying a phone, right? Essentially, you are the one who does the research, what phone to buy. Uh, you go and look out for options, compare them yourselves, or you take help of whatever YouTube. You're doing that yourself. You buy the phone yourself, you pay it yourself, and you use the phone yourself, right? So in this case, you just have a very seamless one person, one human are doing all of this. Let's take a boiler example, right? Or an air compressor in any industry, right? The person who is going to compare what to buy probably will be an infra department,
Mm.
right? The person who will be responsible for the performance of it, like operational performance, will be a different person altogether.
Like a boiler operator, for
Yeah,
example.
like a boiler operator, right? The person who is responsible for that asset as a whole will be utilities manager,
Yeah.
right? But the payment probably is done by the corporate, or if it's a owner-owned company, do it by the owner.
Yeah.
So in the phone case, you had to design for that one singular person, one profile that you had to know. Here, you have to design for multiple stakeholders, and these are not persons. These persons also change. So you have to understand what is their requirement from this asset, and that is where the design thinking, while essentially the approach remains the same, it's slightly nuanced, right? And that's where things slightly change. So in industries wherever we are doing hardcore engineering, in many cases this we call the stakeholder map, right? Or stakeholder hierarchy is going to be very different for every product. You have to understand that, and every stakeholder has to have a need. If there is no need that the stakeholder has, then he is not your stakeholder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the sort of slight nuance that normal sort of well-known design thinking approach versus design thinking approach in these sort of B2B specialized fields that we should.